My name is Maureen Koech. I have been a practicing professional for the last 7 years. Recently joined Equity Bank Kenya as the Customer Experience and Communications Manager. But I previously worked at Public Relations Society of Kenya. Success means impact. How has my work impacted people, whether directly or indirectly? Look at the summits we usually hold at PRSK. Look at the networking opportunities we give members, right? And I look at success as people getting out of such fora and, these networks that you've built bearing fruit, for lack of a better word. So if I have connected, say, photographers who have come to cover our event, and from that event, they get other gigs, then I'd say I've been very successful. The other thing is the digest, the PR digest. And this was like my baby, And when we started the digest, I remember the very first edition we started. We were still doing copy editing. But when the product came out and we launched it at the summit, Lord, the pride I felt. It wasn't perfect, but it was like, you've birthed a baby and it's there, And looking at the platform we are giving members, for them to have a voice, for them to pen their thoughts, for them to share ideas. And it's a member-owned platform. That gave me so much satisfaction. And look at how the digest evolved over the years, from our first edition to the latest edition. And we look at that evolution and the kind of content we've been able to cover in the digest and, the kind of feature stories we've been able to do. I'm very proud of that. Back home in Bomet, I volunteer for a foundation that, helps youth, that helps young students in schools and families that are not well-to-do in our own little way, yeah? But when I look at the work we do and the impact that, comes from this work, then I'd say I've been a bit successful. I'm very proud to say I was part of the team that, did the inaugural East Africa PR Week and coming with a product that, resonated with the East African market and bringing together PR professionals from across the region to just talk about issues that affect the industry. To me, I think the most difficult thing about managing teams is team dynamics. You realize that in your team, there are people with different strengths, there are people with different, weaknesses, and trying to synergize this to ensure that work is delivered can be challenging sometimes. The most ideal work environment is where growth is assured and encouraged, where you don't just stagnate in a certain level. Yeah, you're assured of, there are growth opportunities in the organization you work for. I have just finished reading The Village Girl by Mary Wamai, and I wanted to just understand, when you see people in certain positions, you want to understand how has their growth been, where do they come from, and just understand their story intimately. And so when I read Mary's book, what came out clearly for me is you have to push yourself to get success. What has stood out for me throughout my career journey is my hunger for growth. I always want to learn. If I don't know something, I want to learn. How do I do it? I had the privilege to interview the US ambassador to Kenya, Ambassador Meg Whitman. And I remember when we were waiting for her to come to the room, when we got to her residence, we were showed where to interview her and we did the setup and everything. And so we were waiting for her outside the room. And Eric noticed this and asked me, "Are you freaking out?" And I said, "Yes." "Are you anxious?" "Yes." And he asked me, and he said, "You're going to do this." But I wasn't so sure of myself. And he just said, "Calm down, breathe in, breathe out. You got this." And all of a sudden, hearing my boss telling me that, "You got this, I have confidence in you," sort of calmed me down. And we went in and we did the interview, and it was very successful, if I may say that. I want to get to a level where I'm touching lives in a massive way. And if it's a position I'm going to be holding where I'm working or wherever I'll be, then so be it. But to me, I'm looking at growth as impact. If I was to start over again, I'd be more aggressive, in taking risks. That's the only thing I'll change. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Remember, fail fast, but fail forward.